And just like that, we are back in business. We are live once again. It is Wednesday once again. So, you know what that means. That means it's time for another edition of Wacky, Wild, Wake 'em Up Wednesday. Everybody say hey. Everybody say ho. Everybody say hey, hey, ho, ho, hey, 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 ho, hey, ho, ho, hey, ho. Everybody now. All right, you guys ready to have some fun tonight? I hope so. Got a cram packed show for you, cram packed with awesomeness and fakery. Some awesome fakery going down tonight. Gonna get into all of it. Gonna be breaking down all the top stories on the world stage. Apparently, hantavirus is out and Ebola is in now. So, no need to be afraid of hantavirus. Now, you need to be afraid of Ebola. Oh my God. What else do we got going on? Oh, yeah, there was an incident that went down in San Diego. We'll call it the San Diego incident. We'll take a look at that. We'll break that down. What else do we got tonight? We got, oh, yeah, the UFO stuff. They've been releasing a lot of supposed UFO files, and I have neglected these UFO files until tonight. So, UFO files, Ebola outbreak, and the San Diego incident. You guys ready to have some fun? All right, here we go. Let's let the festivities begin. I see some of my mods are here tonight. I see Rose Bell here. Hi, Rose. She says Ebola has come back. Yeah, apparently people aren't buying into the hantavirus, or not enough people care. So now they're going to run with an Ebola story. So if you guys remember, I said that they might have the hantavirus story be a big nothing burger, and then just say that their quarantine worked, right? So it appears that the nothing burger is looking more and more like that's what's going to be the end conclusion, which we thought it might be a big nothing burger. There we go. So yeah, hantavirus is out. Ebola is in. At least this week. At least tonight. But by next week, who knows what it could be? It could be the rat shit fever once again. We have no idea. Never know which way these script writers are going to go. All right. So I got a bunch of super chats that came in before the show started. So let me go ahead and get to those and knock out all the super chats. And I'm sure there's going to be a few impression requests that are going to come in. So I'm going to knock those out real quick, and then we'll go ahead and kick off the show. And got 3 different stories, 3 different topics to talk about tonight. So I'll try and get through everything as quickly and precisely as possible. So starting things off, we had RY coming in with the first super chat, as he's been known to do. He sent the first super chat like, I don't know, 3 hours before the stream even kicked off. So let me go ahead and pull those up, and we'll kick this off with the first super chat of the night from RY. He says there have been a lot of elites getting booed at college grad events when they give a speech about AI. Either they are completely out of touch, or this is manufactured rage bait. What do you think? So I've tampered with AI just a little bit, like using image creators, AI image creators that are free to use. So when those were first coming out, I tampered with them a little bit. And some of the stuff that came up seemed, I don't know, like unusually demonic and dark. Like I would prompt the AI image creator to make some weird image. I would come up with some crazy stuff off the top of my head and then see what it would spit out. And in some cases, it would add these just demonic and dark little details to the images. So there's something strange about AI that I can't quite put my finger on. But there also is a fair amount of rage bait being manufactured. And the reason why they manufacture rage bait so much nowadays is because hate gets more clicks than enjoyable, happy videos. So if you can get people pissed off, they watch longer and they interact in the comments more so. So that's why you see guys right now like Clavicular blowing up based on a bunch of people hating him and talking about him negatively. Right now, Jeremy Hambley is like the most infamous person on the internet right now because he took down some guy's channel. And so in order to get people to talk about you in 2026, even if you're some insignificant, talentless hack, if you can get people to hate you, it will get you attention. So nowadays, there's people, who are perfectly happy with getting attention by rage baiting people and getting attention for being hated more so than doing something positive for people, positive for humanity. Anyway, so there's the long answer to that. So thank you, RY, getting us started with the first super chat of the night. And then RY with the second super chat of the night says, Land on the Moon guy does an NFL commercial where he promotes the 49ers, the future Lunar Stadium, and the new Ebola jab. Hello to all of the Bay Area. If you are listening to this radio commercial right now, this is the official Land on the Moon guy, and I am going to tell you about this exciting news that you can be a part of. In 2030 will be the first ever NFL game on the moon. And I, of course, will be going to the moon. I will land on the moon and I will be in attendance at the 49ers' first ever game in the LUNAR Stadium. However, if you want to attend this game, you must have proof of a Ebola vaccination, my friend. You will not be admitted into the LUNAR Stadium unless you have proof of a Ebola vaccination. I have already got my Ebola vaccination earlier this afternoon, so that means I am already free and clear to go to the LUNAR Stadium on the moon. There you go. That was longer than it needed to be. But that's what you wanted. That's what RY wanted. That's what RY got. All right. RY also wants a fittest flat earther suggesting that aliens are fallen angels. So the Heavenly Father has blessed me with the ability to see that these deceivers, they're not humans like me or you. They're fallen, shape-shifting vampire angels. And of course, right now, we're going through the little season. And during Satan's little season, that's when these shapeshifters, they like to do the most shapeshifting of all. And so it's easy to see right now, because I'm exposing this information, they've got all of these little shapeshifters just doing a crazy performance right now, and they're shapeshifting right now more than they ever have. And that's because I'm exposing this information. Shapeshifter. All right. There you go. A little fittest flat earther action for you. All right. And RY wants Trump saying that there is nothing more important than stopping Iran from getting a nuke and also stopping the alien invasion. Screw your freedom. Very creative tonight, RY. So, President Trump, what is your current concern about Americans' financial situation? I really have no concern currently over Americans' financial situation because, quite frankly, that's not important to me at all. The only thing that's important to me is whether or not the aliens have a nuclear weapon. Right now, we have received word that the aliens in Iran are working together. So, what we're worried about is that the aliens are going to get a hold of a nuclear weapon and that they might sell it to Iran. So, we're keeping close watch on not only these aliens, which we just disclosed aliens do exist, they are here, get used to it. Right now, the aliens, if they get a hold of a nuke, they just as well might sell it to Iran. And then you know what that means, all right? That means big boom. And then you know what happens next. So right now, you don't expect me to care about Americans' financial situation when I got bigger fish to fry, such as aliens getting a hold of a nuclear weapon and selling it to Iran. All right. There you go. There you go, RY. I think that should be sufficient. Mixing up the aliens and the nuclear weapon all into one. All right. And then some of these other ones I think I can pull up on screen. With the StreamYard software. New Tartarians with a super chat says, oh, I forgot to add in screw your freedom on that last impression. I'm sorry. I almost forgot to add in screw your freedom. Words from a good friend of mine, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fine actor. He's a lot of genius. He wanted me to tell you right here, right now, screw your freedom. There you go. All right. New Tartarians with a donation from Canada says, hello, Sir Jake. Could we get Dane Wigington doing a tag team promo with Richie from Boston with a breakthrough scientifically backed study that Bible vape juice can actually reverse geoengineering? So right now there's geoengineering programs going on all over the globe. And they're ripping holes in the ozone layer right now with these geoengineering programs. Every time they spray with these geoengineering programs, they rip holes in the atmosphere. And that's what's causing the global warming right now. Our ozone layer is like a thin layer of paint over a basketball. And right now, these geoengineering programs are decimating our ozone layer. That's not exactly really what's going on. In fact, Dane, let me clear things up. What's really decimating the ozone layer is the Chinese nano drones, all right? Now, before you spread any more of your misinformation, I want to go ahead and tell people the truth. The only way to get rid of the Chinese nano drones is through the use of my scientifically proven organic Bible vape juice, which has scientifically been proven to cure nano AIDS. Now, there's been a lot of science that has been performed as far as the study of whether these Chinese nano AIDS do exist within your anus. And I'm here to tell you that it is true and the science is a fact, all right? And it's personally verifiable. I personally have done my own experiments with my own anus, and I can tell you for sure, Chinese nano drones are for real. All right, Dane, I don't want to step on your toes. I don't want to step on your toes, but I got to go ahead and tell people right now, you're going to want to like, you're going to want to share, and you want to subscribe or don't. Richie from Boston and Dane Wigington, and we're out. All right. Not only can it cure your Chinese nano AIDS, but it also can reverse the geoengineering that's going on. Because quite frankly, the geoengineering is nothing more than a bunch of Chinese nanobots. So, of course, my vape is going to get rid of all those and much more. It's going to cure what ails you. All right. Little encore from Richie there. RY coming in with like his, what is this, like your fifth super chat of the night? Before the stream even started. He wants Wanda Sykes arguing with Elmo about Ebola. Well, your creativity is off the charts tonight, buddy. Let me see what I can do.
Elmo is very scared of just got vaccinated against hantavirus, and now Elmo heard about Ebola, and it's breaking out in Africa. Elmo knows that black people come from Africa, and black people have Ebola. So therefore, Elmo is now afraid of all black people. Keep black people away from Elmo. Elmo, I can't believe you said some ignorant shit like that. Elmo, not all black people have Ebola. That's some racist, ignorant shit you be saying right now, Elmo. I can't believe you said that, Elmo. You need to wake your ass up right now. You in America right now, and you talking to a black person right now. I ain't got no Ebola, and I don't appreciate what you saying about all black people. All black people don't have Ebola. You wrong. You need to change your ignorant ass opinion right here, right now, Elmo. Elmo, quit looking at me like that. Elmo, quit looking at me with them googly eyes, looking at my big, beautiful black breasticle. Elmo, you need to quit looking and staring at my big, beautiful black breasts. I ain't trying to fuck you, Elmo. Ain't nobody trying to fuck your puppet ass.
All right. Wow. That probably went longer than it should have. But there you go. Sometimes I get into it. You know, I enjoy what I do. And this is what I do. Before we start every show, I get a whole bunch of impression requests from RY and others. And then eventually, once I've done enough of these impressions, then I actually start the show. So this is normally what happens here. This is a normal occurrence here on Wake 'em Up Wednesday. RY also wants me to do Theo Von floating in space. Theo Von Fawn, y'all. Y'all, I got to be honest, y'all. So I came up here to clear my mind because I've been feeling some serious depression, y'all. My last comedy special, I bombed, and it wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be, you know. So, like, I came up here to, like, you know, get some peace of mind, y'all. And I was looking down through the window down at Earth, y'all. And I'm not even kidding. I could see the depopulation that's going on down there right now. It's got me hella depressed, y'all. I can see right now that the Earth's being genocided by Israel, y'all. It's got me all down and out, y'all. So that's why I had to double down on my antidepressants, you know. I've been feeling a little upset, you know. I even been thinking about whether or not I should take my own life, y'all, after my last comedy performance when I bombed, y'all. So that's why I came up here to the International Space Station. You know, I thought maybe floating around might make me feel better. It's actually making me feel worse. All right. There you go. Some Theo Von Fun floating in space. Any other comedians out there doing a Theo Von Fun floating in space impression? I bet not. It's harder than it looks to do this on the spot, making it all up. All right, I think the rest of these I can pull up. There it is. Yeah, the rest of them I can pull up. So let me get rid of this watch page. Boop, there we go. Decran says, the video you did earlier today about fake Major League Baseball was epic. We need more. Well, the thing with baseball is it's a really long season. And so there's so many games. They play like 162 games, right? Each team. And so to do like a weekly breakdown with a sport that drags on in boring fashion all summer long, and not that many people are into baseball as who are into football. Like the NFL is way more popular than Major League Baseball or the NBA or any of the sports organizations here in America. So just the audience in general for me making baseball content, I knew it was going to be smaller. And I knew it was going to be a lower view count than the football videos. And the same problem exists within the NBA. The NBA is a long season, and I just don't care about the NBA that much. And the whole the whole process of rigging an NBA game, for instance, is based around the ball going in the hoop with the magnetic tech, and then guys purposely not playing defense. So if I was to do NBA content weekly, for instance, I would be like, oh, here's another magnetic shot. Yep, he made a magnet shot again. Oh, here's another guy not playing defense. Oh, and here's a guy making a three because of the magnets. I would just be repeating myself over and over. Oh, look, another magnet shot. Oh, look, another another guy not playing defense on purpose, right? So there's things about covering these sports regularly that just won't be as exciting as the NFL product. So the NFL has a lot more moving parts than basketball or baseball. And the fact that the guys tackle each other makes it more exciting. And so when it comes to baseball, it's like there's no collision really, so it's not as exciting. I mean, sometimes players run into each other, but you know what I mean. It's not as exciting to cover or to watch from a spectator standpoint. It's just not that exciting of a sport. So I wanted to make a video and explain how it's rigged and explain all the different ways that they can script a baseball game and how easy it is to script a baseball game and show some examples. But to do it week after week, I think I just don't know how much people would care. I think people would watch one or two of those and then get bored of it, right? So there's problems with trying to like continuously make baseball content or basketball content. I just think people would get burnt out, and I personally would get burnt out trying to cover the long ass boring baseball season. And there's other sports out there that I never watched or followed when I was a kid, never really got into, who I think other people would be better to break it down and talk about it being scripted and fake other than me. So there's opportunity out there for somebody who knows all about, you know, soccer to be the next soccer is rigged guy. I'm not that guy because I didn't grow up watching soccer, right? I grew up watching the NFL, so it's a lot easier for me to do a breakdown over NFL game and break down NFL footage than it is for me to break down an international soccer game when I never watched soccer. All right, so Doxological Thinker says, here's a layup super chat. You knocked it out of the park with the baseball vid earlier. Keep waking the sheeple up. Thank you for the layup super chat, Doxological Thinker. I appreciate the support, buddy. RY. Oh, wait. I read this one. Theo Von Fawn floating in space. I read that one. Doxological Thinker says, also, would you be willing to expose hockey to? I know a few people who think it would be impossible to rig hockey. The Stanley Cup is soon too. So you might be able to wake a few people up. So yeah, the problem with hockey, as I was just mentioning, is I didn't grow up watching hockey. So when I was a kid, I liked the NFL the most, and I watched the NFL the most. And then baseball was like my second favorite sport. And I played baseball when I was a kid. So I knew more about football and baseball, and I watched those sports more when I was a kid. And then basketball, like I only watched a little bit and I wasn't really a big fan. And then hockey, it was like I never sat and watched a full hockey game. And even when like I tried to watch it a few times, like when the San Jose Sharks would be in the playoffs, and my friends and other people were like, oh, the Sharks, you got to watch the Sharks and whatever. And I would try and watch a little bit of hockey. I just never got into it. So I'm not the guy to do it. And I don't want to force myself to make a hockey video that I don't really care about, right? Or that I don't want to make just to point out that it's fake. So I'm sure that the hockey games are rigged and scripted. And all you got to do is just have the players just not play hockey at their best, not skate as fast as they can, not try and make a goal, on purpose, and then the goalie can purposely let the puck go by them, at a specific point of the match. And then you can even add technology to the puck and to the goal, right? So there's lots of ways you can rig and script a hockey game. It's just I never watched the game. I never had a passion for it, so I wouldn't be the best guy to explain it and break it down. I think I would do kind of a shitty job. So there's an opportunity for you or anyone out there to be the next hockey is rigged and scripted guy. So if I am known as the football is rigged guy, right? I'm kind of known as the guy who does that. And I'm not the best guy for the hockey is rigged job. That means somebody out there could be the hockey is rigged guy. All you got to do is just start doing what I do, except with hockey instead of the NFL, right? So, doxological thinker, you could totally be the hockey is rigged guy. And all you got to do is videotape the TV. This is how I do it. I videotape the TV screen so that it's my personal footage. And then I put it in slow motion and I take out their audio and I add my own background music so that I manipulate the product enough to where when I upload it, it's not recognized by the system as baseball's product or NFL's product, right? So I edit the video enough to where when I upload it, it thinks it's my own original content because I've changed it so much to where it recognizes it as a original piece of content that I created, right? Does that make sense? So you can be the hockey is rigged guy. All you got to do is just start breaking it down, buddy. So thank you for the generous super chat. I hope you become the hockey is rigged breakdown guy, bro, or somebody out there. And not just hockey. This goes for all the sports. Like, I'm not the guy to break down international soccer matches, but maybe somebody watching right now is that guy. So here's your opportunity if you're watching and listening to this right now. If you know that soccer or any of these sports are rigged and scripted, and I'm not talking about it, then that means the opportunity exists for you to become the guy who does make that content. All right. I think I beat that horse into the ground. All right. No money, or excuse me, Nunnion. I said no money. Nunnion 9943. I wish they would just let people have their regular names. I hate the handles. I'm not a fan of the handles. I don't know why YouTube thought that it would be a better idea to use handles instead of the names that we all picked out. But anyway, Nunnion says, it's real because it looks so fake and gay. Yes, everything that's real looks fake and gay, and everything that's fake looks real and not gay. That's how that works. RY with another super chat says Ebola is turning the freaking frogs gay.
Folks, let me tell you what's happening right now. The reason that the freaking frogs are turning gay so quickly is because they've been infected with the goddamn Ebola. I've been saying that the deep state was going to plan an attack very soon, and it turns out they did something nobody was expecting, not even me. The freaking deep state unleashed the Ebola on the frogs. Got all the frogs fucking each other in their little frog asses right now. The frogs are gay, folks, and it's the goddamn deep state Ebola virus. Hillary Clinton.
All right. Whew. All right. And we're just getting started. Haven't even got into the topics tonight. This is how much fun we have around here. Big Money Bob gifting 5 Jake the Awake memberships. Thank you very much, Big Money Bob. I appreciate the gifting of the Jake the Awake memberships as always. You're doing the Lord's work, sir. You're doing the Lord's work, sir. God bless you. Blah. Getting tongue-tied. RY says your video is extremely low res. Oh, right now you mean? I'm low resolution right now. That happens from time to time. Just sit and wait and it'll get crispy and clear again. It goes from being crispy and clear to being shitty to being clear again and then back to shitty and then back to clear again. So that's par for the course. And it happens to everybody except the big channels, you know, the big channels with the check marks. They have perfect internet connections all the time. But then guys like me, you know, they down throttle the connection. Internet comes in, comes out. It's what happens. Got to deal with it, brother. Chad Hurry with a super sticker. Thank you, Chad Hurry, for the super sticker action. I appreciate it, brother. All right, we got a Doxological Thinker with another super chat. Says, can you do Trump being convinced by Bill Gates to give Iran a nuke full of vaxes because of overpopulation? So one of the ways that we can reduce the population through the use of vaccination, and one of the ways we can do this effectively and safely, is by developing a new nuclear weapon that we can actually include vials of the vaccine within the nuclear weapon. So we can not only double the effect, but we can get 10 times the amount of effect from a single nuclear vaccine weapon than we would 1 million vials of the same vaccine being administered. I got to tell you, what you're saying right now sounds like a wonderful plan. Sounds like a lot of genius, this guy, Bill Gates. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this fella, Bill Gates. He's got a wonderful plan for you and me. As you all know, I recommended that you take the vaccine and the booster. And I still recommend that you take the vaccine and the booster. And I also recommend that Iran does not get a hold of a nuclear weapon. However, the United States having a nuclear vaccine weapon sounds like exactly what the doctor ordered. In fact, we're going to go ahead and get started right now. We're going to be removing the tax dollars from all of your bank accounts to create the first ever nuclear vaccine warhead. And of course, we're going to unleash it on Iran and China at the same time. 2 birds, 1 stone. All right. There you go. That sounds like something they might actually try and do, right? I better not give them any ideas. Some of these ideas the script writers might actually run with. Coming to a world stage script near you. All right. DC Hawaii says, can you do Sean Ryan interviewing RFK Jr. about the Ebola vax? I gotta be perfectly honest with you. I really don't know what Sean Ryan sounds like, but I can do one of the best RFK Jr. impressions that you could possibly find online right now. And the reason is because I actually envision that I have a turd stuck deep in my ass, and I think about how unpleasant and painful it must be, and I use that as motivation so that I can recreate the voice of RFK Jr. so accurately. So I know it might be a bit disappointing to find out that I don't know who Sean Ryan is, but the fact that I can do such an adequate representation of RFK Jr., that has to suffice as a perfectly good impression that you should be happy with. All right, there you go. And that's why I need to tell you right now that I'm not against vaccines, and I'm here to promote the Ebola vaccine because it's the only way we're going to contain the outbreak right now that's happening in Congo. All right, there you go. I almost forgot to include the Ebola vax part. There you go. All right. Starting off with a lot of creative requests tonight. I like it. RY says, Here's a layup. Thanks for the Elmo Wanda impression. Oh, you're welcome. As you guys know, I bring some of these requests to life in a way like nobody else can do. And then later on in the show, I'll be covering some serious topics. So it might seem like the show is silly, but this is also a serious truth program where I'm going to be laying down some truth bombs later on. So don't anybody go anywhere. Things might be a little silly right now, but we got some serious shit to break down coming up very soon. So stick around for that. All right. And thank you, RY, for all these super chats, bro. I appreciate all of the super chats and all of the creative requests that you're coming up with. Rex James with a very generous super chat as well says, "Sup, Jake. I heard the other day there was like 350,000 plus people packed in somewhere in Pittsburgh for the NFL draft. Nothing is going to wake these NPCs up." Bro, there's nothing more stupid than a fanboy showing up to watch names being read over a PA. Like, it's one thing if you think the games are real or if you're entertained by the fake games, but it's a whole nother thing to show up just to hear someone's name be read. You know what I mean? Like, so you're going to pay money to travel and pay money for a hotel room and then wear like your team's jersey, wear some other guy's name on your back, and you're going to cheer when they announce who your team picked. Like, let's say it's an offensive lineman and you're like a Raiders fan, right? So you travel to Pittsburgh and they read who the Raiders pick, you know what I mean? And let's say it's like an offensive lineman, and you're like, yay! Roo, 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 roo. Woo! You know what I mean? And all they do is just read what the Raiders pick. They pick from Ohio State, Fat Fuck McGee. Yeah! Woo, woo, woo. Now that we got Fat Fuck McGee, we're definitely going to be a playoff team. I'm going to call my dad right now. Dad, we just drafted Fat Fuck McGee. Oh, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl now. Woo! Right? So, yeah, the fanboys who go watch the draft and then they cheer when they hear a guy's name. And the thing is, the player might end up being a total bust. So every year there's players who are drafted, and sometimes they're drafted first, second, third out of the entire draft. Like the number one pick sometimes turns out to be a bust. And so sometimes they have it scripted to where these players who get drafted early turn out to be players who never amount to anything and hardly see any time on the field at all, right? So in essence, these guys might be cheering for the next bust, right? You might be cheering for the next Ryan Leaf, right? Or the next Jamarcus Russell, right? You don't know if the quarterback that the Raiders drafted is going to be the next Jamarcus Russell or the next Jim Plunkett, right? But you got guys showing up with their jerseys and cheering when they announce the guy's name. It's like, dude. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty bad. In fact, I've made fun of this before. I think a few seasons ago, I made fun of the sorry NFL fans who show up to the draft. All right. Thank you for the generous super chat, Rex James. And I totally agree, brother. No waking those NPCs up. Those guys are fans for life. And they'll fight you if you tell them it's fake. Not only will they call you a moron and tell you that you've never played football, if they're drunk enough, they'll fight you. RY says, RV talks about alien invasion. So right now, it's absolutely ridiculous alien UFO story going on. And the reason why they're releasing these UFO files is they're trying to cover up the biblical truth about the flat earth. They don't want you to know that flat earth is created by God and that the Bible is 100% true. They don't want you to find out that the God says that the earth is flat in the Bible. So right now they're running this alien invasion. It's absolutely ridiculous. I also like to use Rowdy Roddy Piper's image as my own. It's because I don't like to show my own face. I don't want people to know who I am. I don't want people to know my name. So I use Rowdy Roddy Piper's image from the movie They Live as my own image. And I sell coffee mugs and shirts with Rowdy Roddy Piper's image. I make money selling Rowdy Roddy Piper's face on a coffee mug. It's not absolutely ridiculous when I do it. But when Jake the Fake sells his merchandise, it's absolutely Masonic. All right. There you go. RV talking about the alien invasion. Decran 4D says, land on the moon guy convincing Trump the UFO files actually came from the Epstein files and therefore fake. Land on the moon guy convincing Trump the UFO files. One of the things that President Trump does not seem to understand is that the UFO files, they come from the same place that the Epstein files come from, my friend, and they are some sick perverts who touching the kids in the no-no zone, and I do not like what they are doing, my friend. And let me tell you what, once that I connect the UFO file and I connect the Epstein file, I say, fuck you to all of your files, my friend. You can take your file and you can shove it up your asshole. Now, that's exactly what a deep state liberal would say. All right, there's a lot of things being said about me on these files, and it's lies. And all of the lies, they come from the liberal side. These Democrats, they lie about me constantly. And everything that you read on these files, it was made up. All right, none of it's true. The only stuff that is true is, of course, the stuff about Bill Clinton and Hillary. The negative information that you have read about on the files, none of it that correlates to me is true at all. It's all a bunch of media lies, all right? You know who gave you javelins? I gave you javelins. Obama, he gave you sheets. I gave you javelins. You never see the Democrats giving javelins. I'm the one who gave you the javelins. All right. Sorry. Sorry to get sidetracked there. All right. Moving on. I think we're almost caught up with all the super chats here. RY says, Unidoct Ryonated is sad he missed your fittest flat earther impression. Can you please do more for the road before you get started? All right. So somebody out there who's watching is sad that they missed my fittest flat earther impression from earlier. So rather than going back and watching the replay while I'm here live, instead, I'm going to do another fittest flat earther impression for you right now so that we can turn that frown upside down. So one of these fallen angels who's been doing a lot of shape-shifting lately, none other than Macaulay Culkin from the Home Alone movies. He's also playing the role of Kid Rock. As you can see, they look exactly alike. The symmetry is undeniable. Kid Rock and Macaulay Culkin are the same shape-shifting fallen angel, and they're also vampires. And not only that, you might think it's crazy, but not only are they playing the role of Kid Rock, but Macaulay Culkin also plays the role of Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. So this shapeshifter is able to shapeshift from being Kid Rock one day to being Joe Burrow to being Macaulay Culkin. That's because he's a fallen angel. And these fallen angels, right now during Satan's little season, they're doing more shapeshifting than ever before. Because they're shapeshifters. All right, there you go. Little fittest flat earther. And that's one he actually said. He actually does say that Macaulay Culkin is Kid Rock and Joe Burrow. He actually does say that. So that's actually an impression that is authentic, an authentic fittest flat earther impression for you, sir. Doxological Thinker coming in with a super chat says, can you do old Alex Jones starting a new show, Nympho Wars, saying Ebola is fake, then complain he has to pay $33 trillion to the Ebola victims?
So as you all know, InfoWars has went off the air, but that has made way for our new show, InfoWars, and it's going to be way better than InfoWars ever dreamed of being. Folks, right now, the deep state is doing their best to censor us, but they are not going to be able to censor InfoWars. We shall not be stopped. We shall be victorious. Folks, so right now, they want me to say that the Ebola virus is fake. And the reason they want me to say that is because they're trying to get me sued. As you guys know, I already owe over $1 billion to some Sandy Hack actors, and they're trying to get me to owe over $1 billion. I think they want me to owe something like $33 trillion to these damn supposed victims. Folks, if I tell you something's fake and then you get butt hurt, please don't sue me. I already have to pay these damn Sandy Hack actors more than I have, which is why I had to sell InfoWars, which is why I'm doing this right here, right now, folks. If I don't get you to buy my boner pills, I don't know what I'm going to do to feed my family. I might have to eat my neighbor's ass.
All right. There we go. Little classic AJ for you. And Love World Peace with a super chat says, that fittest flat earther chin is hilarious. Makes the character. Well, I'm just doing what I gotta do to prove to you shapeshifters do exist. So when you hear guys like Jake the Awake talking about hyper-realistic masks, he's definitely being a deceiver. These shapeshifters, they have the fallen angel bloodline, and they've crossbred with the Nephilim. So within the snap of a finger, they can shapeshift before your very eyes. So when you hear guys like Jake the Awake talking about hyper-realistic masks, he's just lying to you. And when you hear me talking about fallen angels and shapeshifting, I'm the one telling you the God's honest truth. And you can believe me. This is not Duper's Delight. This is a real happy smile. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Big Money Bob with 5 more Jake the Awake gifted memberships. Holy cow. So much super chat support, y'all. It's like I almost don't even need subjects to talk about. But I got 3 subjects to talk about tonight. So let's go ahead and burn through those right now. How about we go ahead and start first with the UFO stuff? It's always funny to point and laugh at their fake UFO nonsense. And right now, they ain't even trying hard with their supposed UFO footage and their supposed UFO disclosure. They're showing some of the crappiest black and white, grainy, boring footage you could possibly imagine, and they're trying to pass this off as UFO disclosure. It's really pathetic. I'm sure you guys have seen this. They started running this story like a couple weeks ago, and they're still running the UFO disclosure story. So we'll just take a quick peek at that.
It can't be explained by a drone or a helicopter. It adds to the body of evidence that is occurring now in terms of video data and imagery that has convinced me that we are not alone in the universe.
The truth is out there, Fox Mulder said. The Pentagon today released what it says are never before seen images of unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, or as you and I know them, UFOs, as well as several investigations into reported sightings that span decades. CNN's Tom Foreman probed.
All right, so straight up saying these are UFOs, and they're not admitting that they are UFOs that come from our own military, right? And then when they show on screen, like, what's this? Like, what is that?
They released What it says are never before seen images of
Like what? Like, could it be any worse footage? So I remember back in like the 90s, early 2000s and stuff, back when I was a sheeple, when I was growing up, and I believed in aliens and UFOs and stuff. I would have been bored seeing this. And so I remember I used to watch shows about UFOs and stuff, and they usually would show better footage than this. So I would argue that the UFO footage that they show now in 2026 is so boring. I don't even know how people who believe in this shit can even get into this story.
unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, or as you and I know.
Like, it's so tiny. It's this tiny pixel on screen. And look, it's just like gray. I mean, how easy would it be to make this up and just create this with, any program, right? Like, this is just some pixels on a screen that we're looking at right now. You can prompt AI to create this for you. It would be pretty easy to fake this right here, right? So out of all the footage, in 2026, we get like these boring, super grainy, just highly unimpressive shots. Like, how come we don't have any impressive shots of these aliens, like these UFOs? If you're going to do disclosure after all this time, you're going to make it as boring as possible so that not even the people who believe in it give a shit.
Them UFOs, as well as several investigations into reported sightings that span decades. CNN's Tom Foreman probed the files to see what our interstellar neighbors may have been up to.
Crackling with videos and photos showing cryptic images of what appear to be very peculiar flying craft. The release by the Pentagon has UFO and UAP watchers buzzing, even as President Trump, who ordered the release, has said he doesn't know if there is life beyond Earth.
I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do.
Many of the newly released reports are quite recent. For example, U.S. intelligence officials just last year saying they saw glowing orbs traveling in some undisclosed spot at a high rate of speed.
So some guys saw some golden orbs at an undisclosed spot traveling at high rates of speed. Oh, well, that sounds like verifiable proof to me. That totally isn't hearsay, right? Yeah, guys, some golden orbs at an undisclosed location. We're going really fast. So therefore, aliens are real, man.
They appeared to be oval-shaped, orange in color with a white or yellow center and emitting light in all directions. In 2022, there are reports of a military sensor tracking a UAP moving from north to south, and in another report, flying from west to east. In 2024, a teardrop-shaped...
I mean, look, guys, how hard would it be to make this, right? To create this footage and then pass it off as a UFO, right? There's so many different ways that they can get this footage and doctor it up, right? And then say that it's a UFO.
Craft and an uneven ball of white light and a diamond-shaped vessel traveling nearly 500 miles an hour are all reported by military observers.
Nobody's got any crystal clear 4K footage. It's all crappy like this. So you're telling me we waited all this time for the UFO disclosure, and this is the best we get? This is what you give us? If I was a sheeple, I would be highly disappointed with this. All right. That doxological thinker says that UAP is smaller and more grainy than the freckles fittest flat earther finds. No wonder it's never before seen. Yeah. So like I said, they're going out of their way to make this as boring and unimpressive as footage as possible, right? Gah. I can't imagine any young folks at home being impressed with this, or any kids being like, oh, aliens, whoa, right? I think if a kid looked up and saw this, he would look back down at his phone, right? If little Jimmy is playing video games, mom and dad comes in and says, "Oh, look at this. Aliens have been discovered." He'd be like, "Whatever. I don't care." Right? Man, I remember when I was growing up, the movie Independence Day came out, right? Some brainwashing with an intricate plot line where the aliens come from outer space and they want to kill us, and they have this dramatic movie or this dramatic moment where the White House blows up and stuff, right? And then all these years later, we get this boring ass supposed UFO disclosure. It's like, psh, man, the predictive programming that you gave us was way more exciting than this. This is some boring shit. How are you going to show me an image of the White House getting blown to smithereens? And then all these years later, this is supposed to get me excited? Not doing it.
500 miles an hour are all reported by military observers.
All engines running, commit, liftoff.
Older NASA missions also appear, although many were made public earlier. Among them, a bit of unusual audio between the capsule and ground control during the 1965 Gemini 7 mission.
This is Houston. Say again, 7?
Yeah, bogey at 10 o'clock time.
You have any more information, estimated distance or size?
Looks like hundreds of little particles going down the left out about 3 to 4 miles.
All right. Allah Humamin says Betty Barney Rubble, first UFO sighting. Get the fuck out of here. Betty Barney Rubble. Oh, Rubble. First UFO sighting. I'm not actually sure what you're referencing. You'd have to explain to me a little further. I might have missed what you're talking about. I'm not sure if you mean like they have a guy and a woman who claim to have seen these UFOs recently, who's named Betty and Barney Rubble. I know that that those are the Flintstones, but I don't like what he's talking about right now. The first UFO sighting. I know it's that they're from the Flintstones, but how does that have to do with UFOs? Like, that's the part where I'm confused. Can somebody explain how Barney is there like a news story that they're like the first people who saw these UFOs or a UFO? Maybe that's the part I'm missing. Whatever. Nobody wants to explain it to me, then fine, we'll move on. All right, so let's take a look at some more of this UFO footage.
Videos. Some are, of course, grainy and hard to determine and need more data behind them, but others are quite extraordinary and back up previous videos released, as well as testimony in a documentary film that I was a part of called The Age of Disclosure that included very senior government officials, including current Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio.
So,
all right, let's take a look at some other UFO footage. There's another video that shows some extraordinary UFO footage. Can't wait to show you guys how extraordinary it is. I'm sure when you see it, that's exactly the word you're going to think as well. All right, so this video right here apparently comes from the Pentagon. Pentagon releases video of a UFO resembling an 8-pointed star. Wow. That's most definitely an alien spaceship right there. That's definitely not something that came from Earth or was created here on Earth. No, that is 100% an unidentified flying object from outer space. Definitely aliens on board flying it. That's what that is. I mean, guys, this is verifiable proof of alien spacecraft. Look at this. There's no possible way anyone could fake footage like this. This extraordinarily detailed footage is impossible to fake. I consider this 100% verifiable proof of alien spacecraft. They are here. Aliens are real. Sorry if that messes up anyone's religious beliefs. But this is it, guys. This is proof. Aliens are real. So I'm not sure how your religion is going to explain this away, but I mean, I don't know about you, but that's as good a proof as I've ever seen of alien spacecraft. No more proof is needed. All right. RY says, Doot lady reports on seeing a UFO.
That's when we went outside and we thought flying around. And we were scared. We hid under the table. And it was making a noise. It was shooting. It was shooting something. And it was making a sound. It sounded like fireworks. It do 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 do. It did the ta 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 ta. And then it go do 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 do. And then we see it and we got in the table and it do 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 do. It just the ta 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 ta. And then we see it. It's alien. It was alien spaceship, UFO. We see it.
All right. Asian lady.
Thank you for watching.
All right. New Tartarians with a donation says, I just rewatched Independence Day when this whole disclosure thing started kicking up. I'll just say that Dr. Greer of the Disclosure Project drinks a can of Coke before he goes on stage. Right. I just rewatched Independence Day when this whole disclosure thing started kicking up. I'll just say that Dr. Greer of the Disclosure Project drinks a can of Coke before he goes on stage. Right. All right. So some Coca-Cola product placement. Not sure what that means. You'd have to elaborate what you think it means. Allah Humamin says Betty Barney Hill, like Rubble, were abducted in 61. Oh, okay. That makes sense now. So I figured there was a connection to a news story with those names that I was just unaware of. Okay, so in a supposed alien induction back in 1961, and the names Betty and Barney Hill, like Betty and Barney Rubble from the Flintstones. Okay, now I get the reference. Thank you for the super chat explaining it to me, sir. My confusion has been cleared up. Hopefully it cleared up others' confusion as well. Decran4D says, Jake, we all know that UFOs are fake, but why are they duping us? What's their end goal in your option, or in my opinion? So getting us to believe that the universe goes on forever and can be created by a explosion that happened randomly, getting us to believe that we're an insignificant speck of dust just shooting aimlessly through an infinite space void. It takes away a person's sense of being, takes away your importance in reality if you believe in a false reality. So if you believe in their false reality, and all the thoughts in your head for your whole life are based around a reality that doesn't exist, then you never really figure out what's actually going on here. So you never really become the person you're meant to be. Your brain never fully develops. How can your brain fully develop if you think that you're shooting through space on a oblate spheroid and that the sun's a burning ball of gas 93 million miles away? So I have these completely different thoughts than most people who believe that the Earth is a globe, is because I figured out that this place isn't what they told us, that the Earth isn't a oblate spheroid shooting through an infinite space vacuum created by an explosion that happened for no reason. So I figured out that it isn't what they told us. And so now I can ask myself and try and figure it out in my own head what this reality actually is, so that I can gain a conscious awareness over what's actually happening here. So I'm able to experience things in my own mind and experience a way of life that's different from a person who believes that they're a speck of nothingness shooting through an infinite space void. So the key to true intelligence and letting your brain function like it's supposed to and develop properly and opening up all these pathways in your brain, you have to come to the conclusion that this place isn't what they told you it is, and then start trying to think of what it possibly could be. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a fake, false reality, and it will limit your way of thinking. You'll never be able to think and operate on a higher consciousness level if you're stuck thinking that you're a speck of nothingness floating around in outer space on a globe Earth that spins around and shoots aimlessly through the cosmos, right? So there's a lot to it. And by the elites tricking people into believing in a false reality, then they know for sure that what they believe isn't true. So then they can make sure that people never find out what actually is going on. So by convincing the majority of people to believe in something that's incorrect, they can assure that they are the ones who have the true knowledge and understanding of what actually is happening. Knowledge is power. So they hold the power by knowing what this place is. So the people or the entity who runs this place at the tippity top, it knows what's going on. The ones at the tippity top, they know what's going on. Whereas people like myself, I'm stuck here in a open air prison trying to figure out what's going on to the best of my ability. And then the sheeple who they got duped, they have no chance at figuring out what's going on at all because they're still stuck in believing in the thing that they know isn't true. So if they can get people believing in something they know isn't true, they know they're never going to figure out what's actually going on here, right? So it's in the elite's best interest. Whoever runs this world, whatever it is, whether it's human or not, it's in their best interest to lie to people and dupe people so it can maintain power, keep us all in a dumbed down state of mind so that we never truly figure out what's going on. How can we revolt and change things? How can we come up with a plan and work together to fix things, make this world a better place? If we're stuck believing a bunch of bullshit and lies and believing in a reality that doesn't exist and fighting amongst our brother man because everyone's being brainwashed to hate each other and fight amongst each other, right? So There's a lot of reasons why they manufacture hate to get us to hate each other and fight amongst each other instead of working amongst each other and working together to fix this hellhole and fight back. And they have mechanisms in place in case we ever were to start working together and start fighting back. They have mechanisms in place to stop us and thwart us in our tracks easily. All right. Doxological Thinker says, can you do Neil deGrasse Tyson laughing and explaining his favorite science fact that UFOs can't exist because they stop being unidentified as soon as you identify them? Tiny minds who think that the earth is flat are incapable of believing in concepts in which science has already proven. And science has already proven that Earth is an oblate spheroid, regardless of what tiny minds who believe that the Earth is flat are saying online. And that's why the fact that UFOs can't be identified until you identify them. So therefore, a UFO can't be an unidentified flying object, because once you identify that it is in fact a flying object, therefore it can't be unidentified. So the whole notion of a UFO is quite preposterous and laughable. In fact, I can't help myself from hysterically laughing about it right now. How can a UFO be unidentified if we've clearly just identified that it is indeed flying and is indeed an object? All right. That's about the best I can do with that. All right. So thank you guys for all the super chats and donations. I appreciate it. All right. So getting back on track, all the UFO footage that we're looking at is about as bad as this, right? So I'm yet to see any impressive UFO footage. And out of all the technology they have to dupe us, they're doing the minimal amount to create these videos. It's almost like they know people will say, hey, how do I know that isn't AI? So they make it extra shitty and boring so that you think, man, this is worse than AI. It has to be real. It's so boring and shitting. It's so boring and shitty and worse than AI that it has to be real. That's how you know it's real, because even AI would create something more exciting than this. So it looks so fake and so boring that that's how you know it's real. All right. So here's your UFO disclosure footage. All right, let's move along. Cover the next subject. So there was a incident in San Diego, an event we'll call it, where supposedly a couple teenage boys who got radicalized by some stuff they saw online. And supposedly they were radicalized to the point where they decided to go and shoot people at a mosque. So we'll take a look at this story about these teenage boys who not only decided to shoot people, but also apparently live stream it. Out of all the things, teenage boys going to decide to go shoot people and live stream themselves while doing it. Yeah, that's not going to mess things up for guys like me who like to live stream, right? Those of us who like to live stream, yeah, when you hear about teenage boys shooting people while live streaming, yeah, nothing to worry about. They're not going to take away my ability to live stream, right? By having these teenage boys supposedly commit these crimes while live streaming, supposedly. All right.
We got some critical information from the San Diego police chief, specifically the timeline. What he said is just a little over 2 hours ago, authorities were called to the Islamic Center of San Diego due to reports of gunshots. He said they arrived within about 4 minutes, police did, and then found these 3 men victims in the parking lot of the mosque. He said authorities then went to try to enter the mosque, as they often do. They'll try to identify any potential shooter. But then police got calls of yet more shots fired at another area near the mosque. They then went to that location. They said they learned that there was a landscaper there who had been fired upon, but thankfully was not struck by bullets. But here, I have to admit, Jake, is the most strange, bizarre, however you want to describe it, part. Authorities say that they found two men ages 17 and 19 in a vehicle they believe to be the suspects. They believe they died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds.
All right, so two teenagers shot three people at a mosque. There's that number 3 again. So remember the hantavirus cruise ship? There were 3 people on board who passed away, and it was a 33-day cruise. Then you got this story here. Just so happens to be 3 people. And then the 2 suspects apparently take their own life. So a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old decided that they hated everyone so much that they went to this random mosque and shot some random people. That's the story. But wait, there's more.
That raises a lot of questions about, A, who those people are, but obviously what potential motivation there was here. We have had this question over the last couple hours, whether the shooter or shooters, plural, may have been associated with this mosque or whether this was complete, targeted violence from the outside. We did appear to get some indication of an answer to that from the police chief, because he said that they have now brought in the FBI, the San Diego field office. He said they are treating this as a hate crime until they've determined that it's not. And of course, what that signals to us is that that would not appear to be someone who was a member of the Islamic Center there if they're describing this as a hate crime. But again, a lot of questions here. We've covered, you and I, so many acts of mass violence in this country, so many shootings. Rarely do you ever see 2 people engaged in the same type of targeted act of violence.
So what makes this one different is they have 2 people instead of a lone wolf shooter, right? So usually it's one lone wolf actor at these events. But in this case, they have 2 actors. So this one's a little different than their usual script.
In a shooting, but here authorities say they believe that these 2 teens are indeed the suspects. A lot of questions about who they are, what the motivation was, and all
right. So this was like one of the first news reports, and now there's been newer news reports with some details about the shooters, and apparently the shooters were radicalized here on the internet. So these teenagers, they weren't radicalized before, but once they got on the internet, they became radicalized. Let me show you guys next news report. And also, News's Fake 4 did a video. I'll show you guys that. The channel News's Fake 4, he did a video, and I'll show that soon. All right. So here's another news report on the San Diego mosque incident.
You can hear the gunshots. A person scrambling to push a stroller to safety as a suspect opens fire in a San Diego neighborhood. And here,
one more time.
You can hear the gunshots. A person scrambling to push a stroller to safety as a suspect opens fire in a San Diego neighborhood.
So I guess the guy, after he left the church, went to this random neighborhood and started opening fire on this person. Is that what they're showing us? Is that what they're saying happened?
You can hear the gunshots. A person scrambling to push a stroller to safety as a suspect opens fire in a San Diego neighborhood. And here, glass breaking as more shots come from that very vehicle. Police say just minutes before that shooting, 2 gunmen unleashed a deadly rampage at a mosque, sending school kids running for their lives. 2 senior law enforcement officials telling NBC News the gunmen have been identified as 18-year-old Caleb Vasquez and 17-year-old Kane Clark.
So it's at a mosque, but it sends school kids running. So it's at a church, and there's shots fired in a neighborhood, and there's school kids. Wow. Okay. Interesting story.
And 3 senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News they're trying to authenticate a document purportedly written by the suspects full of anti-Islamic and anti-Semitic views.
There's a document that they're trying to authenticate, as in a manifesto. There's always a manifesto, isn't there? So yeah, a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old went online, got radicalized, and they became anti-Semitic and anti-Islamic, and they sat and wrote a manifesto, and it's being authenticated. Of course, because that's what teenagers do. You know, these teenagers, they were probably good kids, good boys, and then they went online and they got radicalized by all the radical information that's out here on the internet, and that's how they became so radical and filled with hate, and they became anti-Semitic and anti-Islamic at the same time. And then they decided to take out all their hatred and frustration on all these innocent people. Sure, that sounds like a plausible story.
Also describing themselves as anti-Trump. Outside the car where police say they killed them.
They're anti-Semitic, anti-Islamic, and anti-Trump, right? Because anybody who doesn't like Trump must also be anti-Semitic and anti-Islamic, right? You must just have hate in your heart. You must be some sort of white supremacist or something.
Themselves a bottle with a Nazi SS symbol.
Of course, they found a bottle with a Nazi symbol, you guys, that belonged to the suspects. So there you go. They went online, got radicalized, became anti-Semitic and anti-Islamic and anti-Trump, and they have a Nazi gas can. Of course. But before this happened, they were good kids. Before they got radicalized, these were 2 good kids.
The car where police say they killed themselves, a bottle with a Nazi SS symbol.
They didn't discriminate on who they hated.
And at 9:40 a.m. Monday, 2 hours before the killing spree, police say Clark's mother called police to report her suicidal son had run away, taking his parents' weapons and car. Police started a search, including at a mall and school, when 2 hours later, the first reports of gunfire at the mosque. And then that second shooting scene. Just blocks away, branches still on the ground after police say the gunman opened fire on a landscaper. One bullet grazing off his helmet, another embedded right here in this very home.
There it is. There's proof that this incident happened. See this bullet hole? So 17 and 19-year-old get radicalized online. They get all this hatred in their heart and soul, and they decide that they're going to go to this mosque and open fire on a gardener. So it was a hate crime, and out of all the people to focus their hatred on, the gardener at the mosque was the one who they focused on. Okay. All right. I mean, is this adding up to you guys? Does this make sense to you guys? What do you guys think about this story so far? Recon Willie says, story is so unbelievable. Yeah, just a little bit. Floppy Chopper says, and antiseptic. Yes, anti-Semitic, anti-Islamic, anti-Trump, and antiseptic as well. Of course. LaFleur Network says, Ba sheep. All right. Then I had a few super chats that came in. RY says, Roseanne must have something to say about all this.
Well, you know, I always knew that the fucking deep state commies were going to go crazy, and they've been trying to kill Trump, you know. So, of course, these fucking anti-Trump commies, you know, they're anti-Semitic, they're anti-Islamic. Of course, they're going to go crazy, you know. So my heart goes out to the victims in San Diego, you know. And the reason why that they're trying to kill Trump's because he's doing such a fucking great job making America great again. So this just goes to show you, you know, you got President Trump doing as best of a job as he can to fix this country. And these fucking deep state commies are trying to fucking kill him.
Davey D. LaFleur from the LaFleur Network says, number one truther source right here, over 350 deep in this bitch. Smash the like button. Please go back and double check that notification icon and subscribe button. Yes, make sure that you are subscribed and that you have the notifications turned to all. And sometimes they don't notify people when I go live. So you want to check my my page on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Those are usually the days that I stream. I try and stream every Wednesday and like every other Saturday. So yeah, make sure to check every Wednesday to see if I'm streaming so that you don't miss the streams. And then I'm going to try and upload more videos more often. So it's my fault for not cranking out videos more often. So I got to try and get in a routine where I can try and crank out a video like if not every day, like every other day. So be on the lookout for more content coming at you, and I'm going to try and upload different types of content, change things up so that you guys don't get bored. All right, so thank you Davey D and RY for the super chats. I appreciate that, guys. And RY says, do you think the San Diego PD know this is fake? So law enforcement who's there on scene is always in on it. So whenever they are going to run these official drills, the police department gets to train their employees and run the drill so they can run it as a training drill. And then the school or the church, whatever, they can also run a drill. So they can have the kids at a school participate in a active shooter drill. And then they can have the police also participate in a drill, and they can use it as training for if the real thing ever happens. And then they can go ahead and just air it on the nightly news as a real event. And the people that they show on screen, you know, they can just be told that, oh yeah, for safety concerns, we have to air it as being real. You know what I mean? So they can make up any reason that they want and lie to the public. You know, there's no law that says they can't lie to us. And so there's no laws to protect us from the propaganda that the mainstream media creates. And the mainstream media is controlled by the government. So yeah, there's no laws to protect us from fake news. So this is just par for the course, regular shit that they do pretty much every week, man. They have stories like this running all the time. And, you know, I've broke these stories down so many times that I'm kind of tired of it, and it's boring to me. And there's not really that big of a viewing market for people wanting to see content where you point out that all this stuff is fake and gay. And, you know, you can get your video taken down or video demonetized or whatever by talking about this sort of thing. And so there's not even that much incentive to break it down. And even if you do make this sort of content, there's just not that many people who care to even watch it. and YouTube's not going to promote this sort of content. So so that's the problem with talking about these sort of stories. Doxological Thinker says, Jake, don't question it. They were mentally ill. Jake, don't question it. They were mentally ill. I'm not sure exactly who you're referring to right now, but thank you for the super chat, Doxological Thinker. All right, let's get back on track.
And tonight, we're learning more about the victims, Amin Abdullah, Mansour Kaziha, and Nader Awad. Police say Abdullah opened fire on the suspects, and all three heroically distracted the gunman away from the mosque before police arrived.
I truly believe that's what saved the 140 kids that were just inside.
Tonight, we spoke to Imam Taha Hussein, who said Abdullah also sent a critical warning. Even in the middle of a gunfight, he grabbed his radio and said what?
He sent a message and notification to all the teachers and the staff inside the building that there is an active shooter inside the building. At the last moment of his life.
Yep. So anyone that they say died is always a hero. You're not allowed to not think that they're heroes. You have to also believe that these were heroic actions that these men took. Yes, anyone who loses their life at any of these events, always automatically a hero.
Thought about saving the lives of the kids and everyone inside this building.
As this investigation is still ongoing, Morgan, I know you have some new reporting in on these suspects.
So yeah, guys, the story is that the teenagers got radicalized, stole guns, went to this mosque because not only are they anti-Semitic, but they're also anti-Islamic and anti-Trump. And they saw this guy and a gardener, and they're like, yes, let's focus all of our hatred on these people. Right? Because they were radicalized.
As this investigation is still ongoing, Morgan, I know you have some new reporting in on these suspects.
Yeah, Tom, we do. And in addition to recovering those 30 firearms and crossbows, authorities state that they believe these two teenagers met online where they were later radicalized. And upon realizing that both lived here in San Diego, that's when they started meeting in person. And right now they're doing a deep dive into their electronic devices.
There it is. Police say suspects were radicalized online. They met online. And then they became radicalized. You know, these teenagers. They met online and became radicalized. So I'm guessing that they were dorky-ass dweebs who sat around playing video games in their mom's basement. But then they went online and they became radicalized, and then they met. And that's when they decided that they don't like Jews. They don't like Muslims. They decided to become radical, anti-Semitic, anti-Islamic, anti-Trump terrorists, essentially. That's the story. That's what the media is telling us anyway. And out of all the people in the world that they can choose to unleash this hatred upon, the security guy at the mosque and the gardener at the mosque and some other random guys at the mosque. Interesting. The story doesn't quite add up, but okay. I guess it doesn't matter. The story doesn't really ever have to add up, does it? All right. So yeah, now they can try and put measures in place to keep people from being able to live stream. Because another thing that they said was that these guys live stream this, and so they can say that these radicalized hate groups live stream their hate crimes. So then they could probably try and come up with some new laws for live streaming. Right?
the May 18th massacre at a San Diego mosque and the 2 deranged teenage shooters who allegedly live streamed the carnage and left behind a vile manifesto.
See, they live stream the carnage. See? So they can probably put together some laws in the future that in order to live stream, you have to, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, what the law will be exactly, but they can use events like this to probably pass some sort of law that you have to have a ID, a special ID and approval in order to live stream. See what I'm saying? So you have to have your online ID, and you have to be an approved user before you're allowed to even go live. So they can use events like this to crack down on people's ability to live stream, and they can blame these guys' hate crimes and the fact that they supposedly live stream their hate crimes as good enough reason to keep guys like me from being able to live stream and tell you the truth. So it seems like they could somehow find a way to create some sort of law or rules to keep guys like me from going live and doing this. So when I hear stories like this, I'm like, oh shit, they're going to use this to create some sort of rules, laws, legislation, what have you, so that I can't do what I do. All right. And then the story is that these guys had swastikas and stuff on their weapons. So they're going out of their way to push that these guys were like some sort of white supremacists. But one of the names of the guys is Vasquez. So one of the teenagers' names is Vasquez, but he's supposedly a white supremacist. Very strange story. Then this video came from the News is Fake 4 channel.
I'm sure just like the fear of all these people, your heart just stops.
Well, it does. I lived close to Columbine when it happened.
Oh, come on!
I lived close to Columbine when it happened. So this is something that, yeah, it hits you. And they're my grandkids. So, yeah, they're my grandkids. So, yeah, I put a call out to my church and to everybody I know, and I got people praying, standing at the line. I've got my hands raised, and I'm praying over the situation. I have to put it in God's hands, or I'll be a hot mess.
How old are your grandkids?
Soon to be 13 and 11.
Okay. And are they able to communicate with you?
My granddaughter has messaged me, and she said we are sheltering in place right now. I think we're safe.
Okay.
So they've got a plan, and they go through drills. I know this. They go through drills. I know this.
It's disheartening though to have to even go through the drills, and now you have to act it out in real life. It's disheartening though to have to even go through the drills, and now you have to act it out in real life. Go through the drills, and now you have to act it out in real life.
So I just told her I'm here until you're in my arms safe, and I love you. And that's what we do, is we love. So
Gotta love the Duper's Delight. The News is Fake 4. He does a good job at finding these actors and isolating their takes where they mention a drill, and they have their Duper's Delight on display. So
That's all you can do.
Huh? What was your name? Denise Flippin.
Thank you, Denise. I hope they're okay. And that you can...
We do have that reunification address right there on the screen there. We do have that reunification address right there on the screen there, 4125 Hathaway Street.
All right. So there's a clip from the News is Fake 4. All right. Yeah, you know, those teens, they 17 and 19-year-old, they were good kids. You know, they got good grades in school, and their parents were proud of them. And then one day they went online and they got radicalized. And then they stole guns and went and shot people at this mosque, and then they took their own lives. And before they did all that, they wrote a manifesto and explained exactly why they did what they did. And it's because they are anti-Semitic and anti-Islamic and anti-Trump, and they're just full of hate. They had hatred in their heart and souls, and the reason why is because they got radicalized. And how did they get radicalized? Because they went on the internet. You know, this place we're all hanging out right now on the internet. And they live stream their heinous crimes. I'm sure that's not going to ruin it for guys like me at all. If they keep having stories like this where guys live stream their supposed crimes. So they'll probably have more and more of these incidents go down where the shooter supposedly live streams himself. They'll probably make that more common so that they can somehow pass some new rules that, like, not just anybody can do a live stream. You have to get some sort of approval that you're not a radicalized terrorist. Good times, huh? Trim Reaper says, my fragile little mind has been radicalized. Yeah, don't you love the lingo? Radicalized. And I'm sure it was one of those radical characters like Alex Jones or Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens. That's who done radicalized him. It was that freaking Candace Owens. Or no, must have been Nick Fuentes with his anti-Israeli rhetoric. You know how Nick Fuentes likes to blame Israel for everything, right? That's what happened. They watched a Nick Fuentes video, turned them radical. It instantly radicalized those poor fellas. And of course, once you've been radicalized by Alex Jones or Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes, the next thing you're going to think to do, get a hold of a weapon. And then the next thing you're going to think to do, go to the nearest church and commit a hate crime. Right after you finish writing out your manifesto, of course. All right. So there you go. There's the San Diego incident. RY says, if we could only ban all gun ownership in America and abolish the Second Amendment, then fake events like this won't happen anymore. Laughing emoji. Yeah, definitely a sarcastic super chat comment here, and he laid it on pretty thick. Sometimes people can't figure out the sarcasm when it comes in a comment, but I can guarantee you he's being sarcastic, and you can tell by the laughing emoji. So yeah, if we could just get rid of all these dang fangled guns, then nobody would be able to commit any hate crimes anymore, right? Then we would just have to worry about knife crimes. So if we can then abolish knives, we would never have anything to worry about at all. Nobody would be able to commit a hate crime at all if we could just get rid of all the guns, all the knives, right? All right. Got a super chat from LaFleur Network. Said that's a clone of Mark Paul Gosselaar. I don't even know who that is, bro. There's too many people to keep track of on the world stage. Too many right-wing pundits and left-wing talking heads, and too many, senators and politicians, and just There's just too many damn people on the world stage to keep track of. So I don't even know who Mark Paul Gosselaar is. Sorry, buddy. I wish I knew who he was, but I don't. I'm lying. I don't wish I know who he was. I don't even care who he is. It's too many people for me to keep track of, and they all suck. They're all a bunch of lying actors on the world stage, and they can all kiss my ass. Dcran4D says, Jake, several in the chat want more cowbell. I got a fever, and the only thing that can cure this fever is more cowbell. Actually, I think I might have a cowbell in my music bag with all my chords in it. I think I might actually have one. 1 second. Oh, here it is. There you go. There you go. Bet you didn't expect me to literally break out the cowbell. Almost forgot that I have that. Thank you for reminding me that I own a cowbell. From now on, as a new super chat request, you can send me money and request that I bang on the cowbell. It's going to be a new annoying part of the stream. As if all of the super chat impression requests aren't annoying enough. Now you have to put up with me banging the cowbell in every single stream. All right. Thank you, Dcran4D. All right. Holden said, I have a request, but first, I know what doxo meant. Okay. Oh, also, Holden sent me a video of the actor from the hantavirus cruise ship, Jake Rossmarin. I was accidentally calling him Josh Rossmarin. Apparently, he has the same name as me. And back in 2020, he was promoting the jab and the booster. And Holden actually found the clip and sent it to me. So before I forget, let me pull that up right now. All right, here it is. So here is Jake Rossmarin, the guy from the hantavirus cruise ship that was like crying, saying he wanted to go home. And now he's apparently in quarantine in Nebraska. This is him from 2022 promoting the vaccine. Okay, let me refresh the screen and try it again.
Get boosted, and gorgeous boosted girls, gorgeous vaccinated girls get boosted, and gorgeous boosted girls get boosted again if you're eligible.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here.
Gorgeous vaccinated girls get boosted, and gorgeous boosted girls get boosted again if you're eligible.
Clearly the same guy. So I had heard that this Jake Rossmarin guy from the hantavirus cruise ship, that he in the past on social media had promoted the jab, but I was asking for the clip in last week's live stream, and I didn't get it up on screen. I didn't get anybody to send me the clip during the last live stream, but here it is. So thank you, Holden, for finding the clip and showing it to me so that I could show it here tonight.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something. So
there you go. Jake Rossmarin did, in fact, promote the jab. All right. Rex James says, just for having a cowbell at the ready. So I have a bag of cords and some guitar pedals, bass pedals, and stuff in this bag. And I recently pulled a couple cords out, I don't know, maybe last week or something. And I saw the cowbell in there. So it was just like on the floor behind me in a bag with some cords. So just so happened to be a request that worked out at the right time. There you go. All right. Got RY says these crisis hack tours. I like to call them hackers because they're hacks. These hack doors are true scumbags. I agree. These talentless hack bags are scum suckers. All right. Let's move on to the last subject that I wanted to cover tonight. So apparently, hantavirus was like last week's virus outbreak, and I guess people don't really give a shit about hantavirus. It's not really scaring anyone. So this week they whipped out Ebola instead. So hantavirus is out, Ebola virus is in. So all the news reports right now are talking more about Ebola, more so than Hanta. So apparently their hantavirus script, either it wasn't working that well or it was a planned nothing burger all along, because now they've ditched it for Ebola instead. One second. Let me pull up the Ebola clip. All right. I got a few Ebola clips.
Receiving emergency,
but they're all short.
This morning, new details about the American doctor who tested positive for Ebola, now receiving emergency care in Berlin, as health officials race to trace infections in Central Africa and worry the scale of the outbreak is already larger than first reported.
We expect those numbers to keep increasing, given the amount of time the virus was circulating before the outbreak was detected.
Surgeon Peter Stafford was evacuated from the Democratic Republic of Congo yesterday. The missionary group Dr. Stafford was working with, Surge, believe he contracted Ebola while operating unknowingly on an infected patient.
2 days after the announcement of the outbreak was made, Peter began to have some of the nonspecific symptoms that are classic for Ebola. Chills.
These look like AI people. Like the way that this guy looks and talks, the way the top of his head's all blurry. What do you guys think about this? It almost looks like they're using a AI doctor on screen here.
Is after the announcement of the outbreak was made, Peter began to have some of the nonspecific symptoms that are classic for Ebola. Chills, fever, muscle aches, fatigue, nausea.
Back in 2014, during that Ebola outbreak, Patients in the U.S. were treated at the same biocontainment facility in Omaha, Nebraska, currently treating hantavirus patients. The DRC is facing its 17th outbreak of Ebola, but a different strain this time, meaning early testing wasn't catching it.
We have less experience with this strain. It's occurring in an environment that proved really, really challenging in 2018, 2019, when we had a vaccine already ready and were able to deploy that.
This time, there's no vaccine at the ready, but officials say the risk in the U.S. is low.
Sunflower says, come on, guys, it's the aliens that are spreading hantavirus and Ebola. So one of the reasons why I created Space Force is because I wanted to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon from the aliens. And as you all know, we have recently disclosed that the UFOs are real. So what we have here is the chance that these aliens might be doing business with Iran. And not only that, they might be spreading deadly disease such as hantavirus and Ebola. Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon from the aliens who may be infected with hantavirus and Ebola. All right. I don't know why Trump had to get in on that action, but he did. See, guys, so now they got a new virus. So they wanted us to be scared of hantavirus last week. Now this week, it's Ebola. I can only be scared of one virus at a time. I simply don't have enough scaredness to give to be scared of two viruses at once. My scaredness is scarce. There is a scarcity to my scaredness, and I can't be scared of two deadly viruses at the same time. That's just too much scaredness. So because my scaredness is scarce, I can only be afraid of one fake virus at once.
Americans be concerned about Ebola?
I'm concerned about everything, but certainly am. I think that, it's been confined right now to Africa.
This morning, Dr. Peter Stafford's wife, Rebecca, who's also a doctor, she was working in the DRC as well, and their 4 children are being...
A profound statement by Trump.
Say the risk in the U.S. is low.
Americans be concerned about Ebola?
I'm concerned about everything, but certainly am. I think that, it's been confined right now to Africa.
I'm concerned about everything. Certainly am. It's been confined right now to Africa. Seems almost like an AI Trump as well. Purple tie today. It's the rare purple tie Trump. And his hair doesn't seem as white as usual. So this Trump has like darker hair, purple tie. It's a little different.
This morning, Dr. Peter Stafford's wife, Rebecca, who's also a doctor, she was working in the DRC as well, and their 4 children are being transported to the same hospital he's in Berlin. And we are just learning this morning about another American physician, Dr. Patrick LaRochelle, who is also potentially exposed, and he is being evacuated to a hospital in Prague for expert monitoring. Willie?
All right, Molly, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today.
All right. Hey, y'all, if you guys are having fun, hook a brother up with a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get everybody here watching live right now to do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. That would be awesome. So if you guys have enjoyed the stream so far, hook a brother up with a thumbs up. It definitely helps the algorithm know that you enjoy this content. Some of you guys are holding out on me, not giving me the thumbs up. You guys, this is a hard thing to do every single week. Keep showing up, keep doing this job, and keep bringing the truth and trying to make everyone laugh and make this all up on the spot, So if you guys want this to continue, show your boy some love in the form of a thumbs up. For those of you out there who, if you can't afford to send a super chat, you can easily afford to hit the thumbs up. So please hit the thumbs up. All right. All right, I got a few more news clips I can show you. So they're talking about the outbreak being a national emergency, or a global emergency, I should say.
The World Health Organization says that the Ebola outbreak in Central Africa is spreading faster and more widely than previously thought. 131 people have died and more than 500 are infected, mostly in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cases are emerging in more towns and cities there, and the disease has also spread to neighbouring Uganda. An outbreak in West Africa in 2014 claimed more than 11,000 lives. I'm joined now by Sir Peter Horby, epidemiologist and director of Pandemic Sciences Institute at Oxford University. Thanks very much for being with us. What's the latest information that we have, and how concerning is it to see this continued spread?
Thanks, Geeta. It's a fast-moving situation, and what we're seeing is that it's only been, a week since it was first diagnosed. It's this particular strain of Ebola virus, pentagon, and the testing of cases is accelerating, but the positivity rate is quite high. So amongst the cases, the suspected cases being tested, roughly 50-60% are testing positive, which is suggesting that actually the outbreak is quite widespread in that area. And so,
boring. Yeah. Don't nobody give a shit about Ebola. Yeah, some boring stories in the news this week. Another lame-ass staged shooting in another lame-ass fake virus story. Boring. And some fake-ass UFO footage. But what do you expect? This is the scripted world stage news we're talking about. It doesn't have to be impressive, and it's usually not. It just has to be good enough to keep the sheeple duped. Keep the sheeple in a state of confusion. That's as good as it has to be. All right. Rex James says, you got a harmonica? If so, let's hear it. I don't have a harmonica. I can play a pretend harmonica. There you go. Some pretend harmonica. Wasn't that great? No, I've never been a harmonica guy. So no harmonica. Sorry. DCran4D gifted 5 Jake the Awake memberships. Awesome. Thank you very much, DCran4D. I appreciate the support, brother. Fist bumps to you and to Big Money Bob and anyone else who sent the gifted Jake the Awake memberships. You guys are doing the Lord's work. Fist bumps to you. All right. See Me Rollin' says, can you play something on the guitar real quick? All right. I could possibly slap a little something on the bass guitar real quick. Possibly. All right. Luckily, I do have my bass hooked up. I haven't played it in a few days, but it is hooked up. Last time I played it, it was in tune. Hopefully, it's still in tune. Well, sounds close enough. All right. All right, I haven't warmed up today. I haven't played bass at all today, so I'm just going to play for a few minutes. Just a little slap bass action for you. All right. All right, there you go. Little slap bass for you. Whew. All right. Thank you, See Me Rolling. Hopefully you enjoyed the slap bass and hopefully it sounded all right. All right. Doxological Thinker says, so Trump is concerned about everything except for our finances. Who writes these scripts? Also, I wish we could give more than one thumbs up. Yeah, I wish each one of you could give me 157 sextillion thumbs up, but you can't, right? We only get to give one, and then sometimes they probably don't even let people give me the one thumbs up. So, you know, you got to take what you're given, and if they give you the opportunity to hit a thumbs up, please do it. Or something. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Suzette Ann says, Jake, that was funky groove and good for dancing. Did you write it? Yes, that's a collection of riffs that I came up with a long time ago. So I had all these different slap bass riffs, and then I started to kind of stick them into one song. Like whenever I wanted to show off, I could show off like all these different riffs. And so I kind of made this show off song so that like if I want to just like quickly play one song and do something really impressive, you know, catch someone's eye, that if I play these collection of riffs all together, that basically anybody who sees me do it will think that I'm good, right? So it's basically like the most impressive thing that I can play if I'm put on the spot, you know, without a drum machine or any other musicians. If it's just me and the bass, I can play that collection of licks, and it will be musical and make me look good. But I can't do anything quite as impressive as that. So once I've played that, anything else that I play will be less impressive generally. So I need to learn some new impressive licks so that I don't just have one awesome lick. So I know other cool bass lines and stuff, but like that's the one that if I want to show off my technical abilities and my different techniques and all these different forms of slap and stuff, then that's the one that I play. All right. Andy says, I love you, Jake. I got to go to bed. Good night. Oh, well, thank you for hanging out, Andy. And I'll see you in the next stream or the next video whenever I see you. Have a good night. Bye-bye. And for the rest of you guys, I can chill out for a little longer and we can just do some open chat. So I just wanted to go over these subjects, the UFO files, the San Diego incident, and then the Ebola outbreak. But I pretty much talked about that stuff. And so now if you guys just want to chit chat about whatever, here I am, here we are. So open chat, I guess, for the next hour or so until I shut it down. Andy says, you guys are so awesome. Don't lose your awesomeness. Yes, this is a awesome audience. I have what I like to think is one of the best audiences on all of YouTube, on all of the internet. You know, the good thing about us, you know, we're good people. We aren't the type of people who are going to radicalize you into becoming some shooter. Into some, you're not going to be radicalized into becoming an anti-Semitic, anti-Islamic, anti-Trump shooter here. No, we're good people. This is a good group here. We're totally not going to radicalize anyone here into becoming the next shooter. I promise. New Tartarian says, absolutely, this chat community actually interacts, jokes, and shares cool info. Good place to be. Now, sometimes we do get a troll or two. Sometimes we get bombarded by trolls and bots. But for the most part, it is a good group of people. And that's because anybody who's a troll or a piece of shit, they usually get thrown out and banned. You know, they get spotted and outed. So, yeah, we are a group of people here who we like to have fun here. We like to joke around, but we also talk about these subjects in a serious manner as well. So when it comes to truth, you know, this is a serious channel, but we also have a lot of fun. And, you know, I do these silly impressions, and I like to make everybody laugh. So this is, to my knowledge, the only real truth and comedy podcast of its kind. And you guys are the only awake, intelligent audience that tunes into this sort of content of its kind, right? So there's other people out there gatekeeping the truth, and their audience is being duped, and it's not the same vibe as what's going on over here. So we got our own little vibe and community over here that's not like anywhere else online. Sunflower says, you do have a great audience, Jake. Very good people and very smart as well. Very knowledgeable. And people have, you know, different sets of knowledge. Like people know about different things here, right? So we aren't all just spouting the same things, right? So we've all researched a lot of different topics, and we all bring different information to the table here. So sometimes you guys will point something out that I didn't notice or that I didn't know about. So it's good to have you guys in my corner and helping me out with figuring out what's going on here on the world stage and in this crazy realm they call Earth. The Trim Reaper says, Jake radicalized us all. Yes, you guys were all good kids who got good grades in school, and you always did what your parents told you. And then you showed up here to my stream, and I radicalized you. And I turned you all into a bunch of hate-filled, anti-Semitic, anti-Islamic, anti-Trump terrorists. And now you guys are all more than likely going to go out and shoot up a church or a school because I radicalized you here in this very stream. My impressions were so damn funny that it radicalized you guys and filled you full of hatred in your hearts. And the only way you can let that hatred out is to go to the nearest church or school and just start opening fire on random people, right? And we're just kidding. We're just joking around here. This is all comedy for entertainment purposes only. Don't anyone get your panties in a wad. Unless you like that sort of thing, then by all means, get your panties in a wad. All right. Hold on, Ralph. Hold on. Got a super chat coming in from Jay Lewis says, which one is worse, dumb virus or AI? Who can kick out ass? Wait, the way your question is worded is kind of strange. At which point one is worse, dumb virus or AI? Who can kick out ass? Shake my head. Even though your question is worded strangely, I'm going to try and answer it. Hi, Ralph. Look who's here. Ralph's here. I would say that that AI can kick the dumb virus's ass. Yeah. You got it right. AI is dumb. The virus is dumb, and they're both equally worse. And I hope that AI and the virus kick each other's ass, and they're both a bunch of dumb, worse, ass-kicking viruses. There, that's what I think about that. Thank you, Jay Lewis, for your super chat. Hopefully I answered that sufficiently. Ralph, what do you want, Ralph? I'm trying to do a live stream, Ralphie. Can't do it with you in my lap. Yeah. I think Ralph wants to go out. All right. I think I'm caught up on super chats. Carl Whitaker says Owen Troller had a really good show yesterday. Just kidding. I wouldn't know. I don't watch him. I never watch Owen Troyer. I don't like Owen Benjamin either. Pretty much anyone with the name Owen is usually a piece of shit. And yes, that includes Owen Hart as well. I don't think I know anyone named Owen who's a good guy. Pretty much everyone named Owen is a cocksucker. Try and name one Owen who's not a total piece of shit. Oh, someone says, why Owen Benjamin? Hold on. I got to answer this one. Why Owen Benjamin? Well, Owen Benjamin recently went on Tucker Carlson's show, right? And Tucker Carlson is a world stage shill. So that means you got to be a shill to be on his show, right? And Owen Benjamin also went on the Baby Truther show with fake flat earther and shill Jaron, and also with Dave Weiss. And I have this phrase, shills of a feather flock together, meaning shills and actors on the world stage will commonly promote and cross-pollinate each other. And also Owen Benjamin ran a land scam where back in 2020, 2021, he said that if you donate $400 or more to his to this land purchase that he was going to make, that he would let you come stay for free on his land. So he basically scammed his audience into sending money that they could basically come stay on this land and camp there. And it was going to be like a getaway, like an off-grid getaway for Owen Benjamin and all of his fans. And so he got all or a big, huge portion of his fans to send a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, so that he could buy this land. And then once he purchased the land, he built a house on it. And then he said that only certain people are allowed to come show up to his land 1 weekend a year. So it went from being land that he purchased that was supposed to be for everyone, all of his fans, to come stay and for all of them to hang out and be this off-grid community. And then it turned into Owen's land and Owen's house, and he allows some of his fans to come hang out and camp for 1 weekend. So essentially, it was a land scam that Owen pulled on his own audience. And there were a shitload of his own audience members who called him out for it, made content about it. And that went on for years. Now, that was years ago that it happened. So a lot of people have let Owen off the hook, maybe forgot about it. But those of us who remember, we remember that back in 2020, 2021, people, they were easily taken advantage of. And so Owen Benjamin took advantage of his fan base at a time when people were scared and uncertain about the future. So Owen Benjamin, the house that he lives in and the land that he lives on, he essentially scammed that from his own fan base and lied to them. Hold on, Ralph, hold on. Cat I Am Spellbreaker says he got like $1 million. Sunflower says he duped the dummies. New Tartarian says people sent Owen Benjamin money thinking they could come and go from the communal land, but then it became Owen's land to do a festival. Yes. And so the hardcore Owen dick lickers, they still rock with him. And they I guess don't have a problem with that, or they were cool with the way Owen handled that. But Owen lost a shitload of his audience back then when he said that this was going to be community land, and he used like all of these selling points to get donations. Like, oh, it's going to be a Bible retreat. We're going to have a basketball court, and we're going to have water slides, and we're going to do a Bible study camp, and it's going to be child friendly, and we're going to have, you know, a bass fishing pond, and we're going to have cabins, and so he kept bringing up all these different selling points to get people to send money and to get people to want to be a part of this community that he was supposedly going to build. And so once people sent the money, and then he purchased the land, and then he started building a house on it. Then it was like, oh, no, it's my land. I can't just let any random person on the internet show up to my land. So then he would only let certain people show up to his land on one weekend out of the year. He would do this little festival event on his property, on his property. So imagine that you think that you're going to go to this off-grid property and hang out with Owen Benjamin, but then it turns out you can only show up with his approval for one weekend out of the year. Meanwhile, he gets to live there. To this day, still lives there. But, you know, some people don't mind. Just like there's some people who don't mind that Zach Hubbard is a scammer. So there's still people who follow Zach Hubbard and kiss Zach Hubbard's ass. And he scammed his audience with wrong picks for years and years. Not only did he get the picks wrong, but he would lie about it. So I see guys like Owen Benjamin still get support. Guys like Zach Hubbard still get support. Flat Earth shills like Dave Weiss, Mark Sargent still get support. So, hey, there's still shills out there running their same shilly game. And there's still people out there supporting their shit, right? Yes, Italian water ice, controlled opposition is precisely what they are. Cat I am Spellbreaker says Owen's supposed to be a comedian, isn't even funny. Yeah, he's never made me laugh, and he's even quasi stolen some of my material. So I came up with the lunar module being a homeless tweaker shelter, and I would show a picture of the lunar module, and I would say, is it a spacecraft? Is it a lunar module, or is it a homeless tweaker shelter? So for instance, I think I got it right here. So the original lunar module right here, many years ago, I came up with the phrase lunar module or homeless tweaker shelter. Right? Then I even put it on a shirt, right? Lunar module or homeless tweaker shelter. So everybody knows, who's been following me for a long time, that I came up with this. And I'm the first person to put the lunar module on a t-shirt and refer to it as a homeless tweaker shelter. Now, Owen Benjamin quasi stole this bit or this phrase. He said that the lunar module is a meth head tree fort. So meth head tree fort pretty similar to what I said. And I most definitely said this first, long before he referred to it as a meth head tree fort, right? So I say it's a homeless tweaker shelter. Years later, he's like, oh, the lunar module. It's a meth head's tree fort. So I think that that's, in my opinion, like quasi bit theft, quasi phrase theft, if you will. Like he didn't steal it word for word, but I'm pretty sure he saw that I called it a homeless tweaker shelter. And so he thought he could just change it up and call it meth head tree fort, and that he could take credit for it, and that nobody would remember that I called it a homeless tweaker shelter long before him. So anyway, stuff like that he's personally rubbed me the wrong way. And I've seen some of his comedic act, and it's not funny. You can't even really call the stuff that he does jokes. And then when you go back and try and watch his old comedy stuff from back when he was in Hollywood, before he moved to Idaho and stuff, none of that's funny either. So I'm yet to find the funny bit that made Owen Benjamin famous in the first place. You know, like there's comedians who have like famous bits that they did back in the 80s or 90s that people can still remember and talk about, like old George Carlin clips that we can still recall and remember. But like, what classic comedy bit did Owen Benjamin ever do that's even worth remembering? I can't think of a single one. Italian Water says, is he Bill Hicks or not? The old Alex Jones, not the new one. So the old Alex Jones, in fact, let me pull the banner up. Old Alex Jones could have possibly been Bill Hicks, for sure. So old Alex Jones does look like Bill Hicks, in my opinion. They have a similar face. But then the new Alex Jones, here, let me get rid of your comment 1 second. New Alex Jones, I'm thinking it might be Will Sasso. So I'm like the only person who will show you something like this, how at one point it may have been Bill Hicks, but then they switched it out and they got the new Alex Jones, who's definitely not Bill Hicks. So sometimes people will show up and they'll try and muddy the waters, and they'll say, oh, Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. And I'll say, no, it's definitely a new guy. And they'll be like, no, you're lying. Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. So some people are still trying to push the notion that Alex Jones is still to this day Bill Hicks. And I don't think that for a second. So I don't think for a second that the old Bill Hicks comedian is still playing that role. I think it's more likely that it's somebody like Will Sasso. And to my knowledge, I'm at the forefront of this subject. So nobody is even talking about Alex Jones being replaced in the last 2 years with possibly Will Sasso. All right. So yeah, here's more example of the old Alex Jones character, and then the more recently replaced character. So it was about 2 years ago they made the switch from fat old AJ character to the new skinnier AJ character who looks like he's wearing a hyper-realistic mask. And he's got like blue eyes that don't quite match the old eye color of the old Alex Jones character. Yeah, the new Alex Jones shaves his head completely bald. And the voice changed a little bit as well. I've done entire streams on AJ being replaced, so I don't really want to get into that right now because I've already done like multiple 3-hour streams about Alex Jones being replaced, and I've shown all sorts of different clips. So I don't want this to turn into a repeat of a bunch of stuff that I've already said in streams in the past. But yes, I've stated over and over again that they replaced the Alex Jones character with a new version, and it appears that they're using a combination of like an AI overlay, CGI overlay, and a hyper-realistic mask. So they can take someone like Will Sasso, and with a combination of a mask and CGI and AI, they can basically turn him or anybody into the new Alex Jones character, and they don't even need Bill Hicks to pretend to be Alex Jones anymore. Rex James says, Jake, have you seen all the YouTube grifters falling off? Views are way down on these lazy, no effort channels. Well, sad thing is, man, you know, it's happening like across the board, even to people who do put in an effort. And, you know, I've had my ups and downs with this platform. I've seen the views go up. I've seen the views go down. I've been through this several times where, you know, the channel will start to get on a roll and views will go up, and then football season ends, and then I try and make some new content about some other subjects besides football, and then the views go down, and they're down the whole damn summer until NFL season starts again. So I'm kind of used to seeing the views go up and then go down, you know, and then I've put out videos that YouTube just doesn't promote and doesn't send notifications to my subscribers, and they only get 6,000-7,000 views. You know what I mean? And then I've made videos where they promote it to a bunch of new people, and it gets, you know, over 20,000-30,000 views in a short amount of time, in only a couple days. And so I've had both things happen. I've had videos get completely buried that I worked hard on, and then I've had videos do better than I expected. And so right now the platform is strange, and it's hard to get views, but there still are some channels that can crank out some slop and get easy views. So I've seen examples of what you're saying, where channels are having a hard time getting views, but then I also see channels, you know, reacting to TikToks and stuff, and still getting 100,000 views in 24 hours. I'm still seeing guys like Asmon Gold, you know, fall out of bed, make a video kissing Alex Jones' ass and getting over 1 million views. Like, I saw Asmon Gold recently made a video kissing Alex Jones' ass, you know, making a video essentially praising Alex Jones, and he got over 1 million views in under 24 hours. And so there's still channels out there who are still able to get promoted by the algorithm and shown to a bunch of new people. So yeah, you know, I've had the video promote me unexpectedly, and I've had the algorithm totally bury me, and only a fraction of my subscribers see the videos. So sadly, I know what it's like to get buried and shadow banned. And I've had the algorithm hook me up and show me to a bunch of new people, and essentially break me out of the shadow ban. And then just when I think I've broken out of the shadow ban, they re-shadow ban me. So yeah, the views on YouTube right now are tough to get. So there's big channels with hundreds of thousands of subs and even millions of subs that appear to be struggling right now. So yeah, I have noticed. And, you know, I'm dealing with it myself. You know, I uploaded a new video about baseball being rigged, hoping that it would do decent. And the algorithm didn't pump it when I first uploaded it. So then I have to like hope that like enough people watch it and hit the thumbs up that then they decide to show it to a few new people. But typically, if I check the statistics and they're only showing it to my subscribers and hardly any new people, then I know they're not going to promote it. If they're only showing it to my subscribers and only a fraction of my subscribers, and they aren't promoting it to new people, and there's no hype button, no option for you guys to hype the video, then I know it's buried and there ain't nothing I can do about it. All I can do is just, you know, work on the next video. But it's also my fault, you know, too. I got to work on trying to make super exciting content to keep you guys entertained. And so I got to come up with new ideas, and I can't just do the same old thing and expect you guys to click, you know. So it's up to me to try and come up with new innovative ways to make new content and keep you guys interested. And so that's what YouTube is essentially trying to get creators to try harder and not just make the same videos over and over again, and not just crank out low quality AI. So some channels, you know, they've demonetized and they've gotten rid of because all they're doing is just constantly cranking out low quality AI shit. So they've done some good things getting rid of some AI slop channels, but there's still millions of AI slop channels that are still uploading nothing but AI slop content every day, all day, that the algorithm somehow hasn't noticed, hasn't taken those channels down. So luckily I'm still here. The good news is I'm still here. I'm still monetized. So, you know, rather than complain about how shitty it is, I just need to focus on doing as best a job as I can to make new content and keep you guys entertained, keep you guys clicking. So all I can do is do what I do. Hope that you guys click on the videos. And when you do, I hope you enjoy them. Hope you hit the thumbs up. And thank you, Rev James, for the super chat donation. And Sunflower says, you and Ralphie have a good night. Thank you, Sunflower. I'm going to be wrapping it up here in just a few minutes. We've been on here for almost 3 hours, and I can feel myself getting a little tired. So when my energy starts to plummet and I start getting hungry and tired, and Ralph starts scratching at me and pawing at me, wanting to go out, then I know it's time to wrap it up. Rex James says, I feel like you are governing your speech sometimes. Have you thought about a Rumble page as well? Well, sometimes I try not to say something that's going to like get the stream, you know, demonetized or taken down. So in some ways I slightly self-govern my speech, right? So there are certain words that can instantly get a video demonetized or even possibly taken down. So I'm not trying to get myself censored, but I do say pretty much what I want to say. So I talked about several subjects tonight that a lot of channels wouldn't touch or would be too afraid to talk about. So earlier tonight, I talked about the San Diego incident, and I refer to it as an incident. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go out of my way to like to say things that are going to purposely get my own channel, you know, censored. You know, I'm not trying to purposely get my own videos taken down. So yeah, sometimes certain key terms I might avoid, but for the most part, I say what I want to say about most every subject. The problem with Rumble and the other platforms is that nobody really watches those videos on those other platforms. I'm lucky if I get 500 views on Rumble. So if I was to post this stream on Rumble, I would be lucky to get 500 views. And then there might be 1 or 2 comments total. So people who get lots of traction on Rumble they're usually shill channels, right? So real people, if you go over to Rumble, chances are you're not going to get that much traction. And it turns out the platforms like Rumble and BitChute and these other platforms, it's like the whole reason they were invented is to get people who talk about things that aren't acceptable here on YouTube so much, or controversial topics here on YouTube, to get those people to go over there and talk about it on those other platforms. And there's a lot less people on those other platforms. And so why would I go talk about anything on Rumble if I know 500 or less people are going to watch it only? And over here, you know, this video, when it's all said and done, I can get 7,000, 8,000, maybe 10,000 people to watch. Whereas if I go to Rumble, I'm going to only get maybe 500 or less. I might only get like 100 views or less on Rumble. So what I've noticed is, like, unless you're a shill and have a built-in audience over there, or some sort of contract with Rumble or these other platforms, that you just can't get any traction. And so I've tried posting on the other uncensored platforms, and I just don't get that many views, just don't get that much traction. And so essentially, it's like going out into the woods to yell the uncensored truth. Like, I can say whatever I want in the woods, right? But nobody's going to hear me. I can go out in the middle of nowhere and start spouting off and say whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about getting censored if I'm out in the woods, but nobody's going to hear it, right? Like, hey, you can go out in the middle of the forest and say whatever you want. It's like, yeah, nobody's going to hear it out in the middle of the forest. So essentially, Rumble is sort of like going out in the middle of the woods and spouting off about the Jews or whatever, you know. You can go spout off about any subject that might get you censored here out in the middle of nowhere, but who's going to be there to hear it? So yeah, Rumble sucks. I can't get any traction there, and there's no money to be made. And so what good would me saying a few extra key terms over there that I might not say over here? Like, what good would it be to go over there and say my uncensored take only to have less than 100 people watch it, right? So I'd rather say what I want over here and just slightly alter a few key terms and get 5,000 to 10,000 views and make money. So, you know, it's so from a logistics standpoint, it just doesn't make sense to go over there to Rumble. And I've tried, so I already know. There's just nobody over there. Leah Strikes Again says, Rumble pays shills insane amount of money. Meanwhile, regular people get nothing. They are also heavily botted. And so that's something else that I've heard, that, you know, certain streamers with like Kick, who have a contract with Kick, they're the ones that get those bot views. And you'll go over to Kick or Rumble and you'll see 10,000 people or more are watching live. But like, from what I hear, those are botted views, and you have to be one of their employees who have a contract. So a regular guy like me, if I show up and try and stream on Rumble and I tell all you guys to go over there, some of you guys would go over there if I told you to, but not all of you guys. And then I wouldn't get the notifications over on Rumble that I would get here on YouTube. So my audience would be tiny. If I tried to stream on Rumble or Kick or any other platform, I would have to tell you guys to follow me over there. And only a certain amount of you are going to do that. And then once I'm over there, none of my YouTube audience is going to get notified. And so, like I said, the views and the crowds shrink down so much to where I just don't have any motivation to go do it, right? I'd rather be here on YouTube and actually have a crowd, actually have people see my streams, see my videos, hear what I'm saying, and then actually make a little bit of compensation, right? So for the most part, I say what I want on this platform, and I don't censor my speech hardly at all. Hey, for what I'm doing, making my content in these streams, they've let me get away with it for a long time. And so one of the things that, or one of the reasons I think that I've been able to last as long as I have on this platform is because of the support from you guys. So this channel doesn't rely on just ad revenue. So I don't rely on YouTube paying me with the ads only. A lot of the support I get is from you guys in the super chats. So this channel gets a decent amount of super chats. And so I think because of the super chat support and the fact that I show my face and I give my name and I don't use a bunch of AI, I think they've been willing to let me stick around on this platform, whereas other people who maybe don't show their face, don't give their name, and try and tell the truth on this platform, they've been censored. I think they let me get away with it. They let me get away with telling you guys the truth more so than others because this channel gets a lot of support from super chat donations, and they can run ads on my videos, and they know my videos are going to get views by real people. So because I have real engagement by real people, I think that's one of the main reasons they've let me stick around all these years. Apparently, I've missed a couple super chats. I got a text from Rose saying I missed some super chats. Let me see if I can go back and find them. Bob Lines with a super chat. Sorry for missing your super chat, buddy. I got a text from Rose telling me that I missed a few. She says, Bob Line says, do land on the moon guys selling land on the moon with free trips to stars and planets. Land on the moon guy selling land on the moon with free trips to stars and planets. So there is this new exciting program where if you land on the moon, you will get a free trip to all of the stars and the planets in the solar system. The 49ers are going to be playing the first ever football game on the moon. And me and Shabir, we're going to go and land on the moon. We land on the moon, land on the moon, we land on the moon. We take it over, we go to the moon. And just you know that we come back soon. Rove to the top, we rove down low. Cause beach you know we got no place to rove. We land on the moon, we land on the moon, land on the moon, we land on the moon. Yes, my friend, we will come back soon. We row, row, row. Everybody say row, row, row. Rover, say row, row, row. Oh, come on, my friend. Row, row, row. Rover, say row, row, row. Row, 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 row. Rover, row, row, row. Row, 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 row. Rover, rove. And yes, my friend, we will come back soon with free trips to the stars, the planets, and the moon. All right, I got to be honest, Bob. I wasn't sure exactly what to do with this comedic request here, this impression request. I wasn't sure how to make the land on the moon guys sell land on the moon with free trips and stars. I wasn't sure of a clever way to make that happen, so I just had to break out into the land on the moon song. So sorry I couldn't come up with a more clever and funny impression to do there. Hopefully that was decent enough for you. And Rose sent me Rose sent me a text saying that Holden sent me a super chat. He says he has a request, but first he knows what. So I don't know what you want me to do with your super chat or what your request is, Holden. So could you please tell me what it is now? Because I'm about to wrap up the stream soon. I'm actually getting pretty tired. Big Money Bob is still gifting Jake the Awake memberships. If you get a gifted membership from Big Money Bob, please thank him. Holden says, Jake the Awake, the other super chat you missed was after I said I knew what doxological thinker meant in his earlier chat. I was going to follow it up, but the thing wouldn't let me, and I had to request too. Okay. Sorry for the misunderstanding. So whatever you're going to say, Holden, say it here and say it now, because I'm going to wrap up the stream soon. And before you guys go, before we shut it down, can you hook a brother up with a thumbs up? I appreciate all you guys hanging out tonight and listening to me rant about all this shit and do all these impressions. I really appreciate that you guys are still here hanging with me after all these years and still enjoying the show. So hook a brother up before you go with a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Holden says, doxological thinker was referring to Goatus with the super chat, Jake. Don't question it. They were mentally ill. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think earlier when he sent a super chat saying mentally ill, I didn't know he was talking about Goatus. He should have included Goatus's name, then I would have totally known who he was talking about. So, of course, if he's talking about the Goatus, then that makes sense who he was talking about being mentally ill. And that is because Goatus is known for saying that people are mentally ill and that you are a mentally ill slave. So therefore, now that I know that he is talking about Goatus, that completely takes care of the confusion that I was experiencing earlier when I did not understand exactly who that he was talking about. There you go. A little Goatus impression. Hopefully that makes everything okay. All right, I'm getting tired, guys. I need to wrap it up. All right, so with that said, I'm going to get off here. Good night, everybody. I want to thank you guys all for hanging out with me and all the super chats that came in tonight. I'm going to go back and watch the replay later, so I'll see who was all here and who all said what. So if I didn't get a chance to pull your message up on screen, I'll go back and watch the replay, and I'll read every person's message who was here tonight. So thank you guys, each and every one of you. And the super chat support was off the hook tonight. I read so many damn super chats tonight that I hardly even had time to break down the fake news on the world stage. So thank you guys for making this another awesome and enjoyable live stream. And I'll see you guys most likely on Saturday this weekend. I'll try and do another live stream, and I'll try and come up with another video before then for you guys. So be on the lookout for new content and another live stream this Saturday. And I'll catch you guys in the next video or the next live stream. Peace out. Much love. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye. And I'll see you next time. Love you guys.